from perennial major contender Tony Pina.
So much every week you have an opportunity to change your life and change the course of your life. Join me, Shane O'Donoghue, for this month's Living Golf.
Saturday on CNN in association with Golf Saturday.
With Bitcoin, not only do we have the best monetary asset in the industry, we have the best monetary network. Bitcoin solves a lot of the monetary functions that we know as very expensive with cryptography and with math. So I can bet you that they're interested in Bitcoin. It's worth the same amount in Chicago as it is in London, as it is in Nigeria, as it is in Argentina, and I can zip it around the world instantly and for free. What we can do is take your dollars and escrow them around the world over the Bitcoin network. So think about this. What if I want to send money from Chicago to London? What we can do is take dollars out of your bank account, turn it into Bitcoin, zip that value to London instantly and for free. You blink, you miss it, it goes so fast, it costs nothing, and then we turn it back into British pounds. That's innovation, and that's how we use Bitcoin, a monetary network.
Today, we live in an unpredictable environment, and news races around the world at breakneck speed.
Our engine continues, our impetus and momentum.
My show brings you the latest news and top news makers. Give me the facts on voter fraud.
There has never been a moment where voter fraud has affected the outcome of an election.
And we also dive below the headlines to explore vital issues impacting our lives.
Normally this theatre will be filled with people and art and debate and energy. And so now we have to rely on the two of us.
How interesting is it to be Tyler Mitchell today? It's crucial we make sense of what's happening. There seems to be some confusion, maybe you can clear up. Where are the US forces in Syria going? And fully understand what's at stake.
What's happening now in the world is a great thing because people are talking about subjects they never did before. Alan Paul, weeknights on CNN.
For World Sport.
World Sports, I'm Matt David.
I'm Patrick Snell.
I'm Alex Thomas. I'm Corey Wyatt. I'm John Riddell. I'm Eddie Joel.
And
This is CNN. And we are back with Nick Robertson in Moscow, Sophie Fetter in Paris, and Richard Hart here in the United States. Sophie, let me ask you how you would describe what Macron was trying to do in that trip to Moscow and what he thinks he got from it and where he failed.
I think what he's trying to do is use what he sees as an extremely narrow opportunity to dialogue at a time when he does not underestimate the volatility of the situation, the gravity of the situation, nor the need to continue with deterrence and with the threat of sanctions. I think what he's hoping is that he can, through what they call the Normandy format, that's to say four-way talks with France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia, pursue a sort of talks that can find a settlement that avoids war. Now, nothing suggested to me during the trip I made with Macron on Monday to Moscow and then to Kiev on Tuesday that he's not faintly naive about this. He talked about the potential for incandescence in Europe. He knows that it's extremely tense. He said that his meeting with Putin was palpably tense as well. All of that was extremely difficult. And it may all come to nothing. And this is, remains to be seen. I think that's why yesterday you saw in the communique that the Elysee Palace put out after the Putin-Macron phone call yesterday, that Macron has said to Putin that, the dialogue could only be sincere if there is no escalation. He's made that very clear. I think he thought he got on Monday a guarantee of some sort, or at least a verbal assurance from Putin that he would not be the cause or the origin of escalation. Now that's worth what it's worth. It's not a written guarantee of any sort, but I think Macron still thinks that there is a possibility for talks, and that's a very different tone coming out of Paris at the moment to that coming out of London, for example.
I thought it was not a coincidence that he also decided to take this moment, this period, to announce a major new expansion of French nuclear energy. He's been talking about it, of course, but that is surely in stark contrast with Germany, which is ever more reliant on Russian gas, don't you think?
Well, it is. In a way, France is less reliant anyway on nuclear energy for the majority of its electricity generation in France, and that it puts it in a very different situation vis-à-vis Russia than that in Germany. Having said that, I do think one of the things I found very interesting about these is this dialogue that Macron is trying to pursue, is that he really is doing it in consultation, very, very close consultation with Germany. They have differences, of course they do, and they're exposed in different ways to what happens or what might happen should there be an invasion of Ukraine. But Macron has been at pains to consult not only with Germany all the way through. After we left Kiev on Tuesday, we went straight to Berlin, where he debriefed the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. And he has been at pains also to make sure he consults with all other NATO allies, or at least, leading NATO allies, obviously the US, but also UK, Baltic states, and others. And I think that this has been a really different sort of Macron doing diplomacy, a very consultative, inclusive attempt, not a unilateral effort that we had in the past seen him try to pursue with Russia.
Richard Haas, tell us what you think about the administration's strategy of really publicizing every piece of every Russian move, every Russian plot that they uncover. That they may hatch a pretext for war by claiming that the Ukrainian government is cracking down on insurgents in eastern Ukraine. This strikes me a very considered strategy, and very different from what happened in Afghanistan, where they were accused of having been caught surprised or unprepared. They seem determined to show this time that they will not be surprised and that they are prepared.
It's very interesting. It's a way of getting ahead of things, Fareed, and it suggests to me, one, we've got very good intelligence, and two, we're willing to make it public. And what we're trying to do, the United States, is take away from Vladimir Putin the pretext that somehow Russia's the victim, that Ukraine is initiating the crisis. So the administration has stayed one step ahead. Most recently, it's been the charge that war could be imminent, which is a way of saying we've got lots of warning indicators that Russia is at a point that if they wanted to launch a war, they could. And I think this has been an attempt to wrong put Vladimir Putin. At the end of the day, again, though, he'll have to decide what price he's willing to pay. But in the meantime, I think it's a very creative use of what seems to be extraordinarily good intrusive intelligence.
You've got 30 or 40 seconds, Richard. At the end of the day, do you regard Putin as a rational actor, or is Ukraine for him an emotional issue?
That's the 64,000 ruble question here, Fareed. And the question I have is he like Khrushchev in 1962, who ultimately backed down at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis? Or is Putin determined to go ahead, to press what he sees as his advantage and his window? I'll be honest with you, I don't know, but I think we're going to find out sooner rather than later.
On that note, Nick Robertson, Sophie Feather, Richard Haas, thank you. This was a fascinating conversation. We will surely be back. Next on BTS, I will give you my take on something different. I think is in much better shape than the American people give it